What if you ever find yourself accidentally time-traveled to the year 1812 with a fully loaded 9,000-ton modern Navy destroyer? You will quickly realize you have just activated the ultimate historical cheat code. One second you and your crew are on a routine coastal patrol, and the next a blinding blue flash completely knocks out your satellite feeds and drops you right into the golden age of sail. From your command chair on the bridge, you are suddenly looking at an era of wooden hulls, canvas sails, and the world's most ruthless pirates. You have enough firepower on this single vessel to rewrite human history before lunch. But as you look down at your digital fuel gauge, you realize you are playing against a merciless ticking clock. This is your first-hand reality of absolute uncontested dominance, right up until your gas tank hits dead empty. To understand the cosmic scale of the mismatch you are now commanding, you have to look at how naval warfare worked in this era. The oceans of 1812 were a chaotic sandbox of wooden hulls and unpredictable winds. The finest warships of the day, like the British Hyams Victory, were brilliant triumphs of oak. But they were entirely at the mercy of the weather. Their maximum effective range was barely a mile, requiring hundreds of sweaty, exhausted men frantically pulling ropes just to aim a single battery of crude cast-iron cannons. Meanwhile, you are sitting in an air-conditioned command center aboard the USS John Paul Jones. To the sailors of 1812, your ship does not just look dangerous, it looks like a mechanical demon. It emits a low subatomic hum that vibrates through the water, and you can charge directly against the wind at over 35 knots, leaving a massive roaring white wake in your path. The moment you realize you are stuck in the past, your crew experiences a very modern kind of panic. Your internet is gone, the satellite links are completely dead. Your global positioning system displays a mocking error message because the satellites required to run it will not be launched for another 2 centuries. But while your long-range communications are blank, your local sensors and your massive Spy-1 radar system are fully operational. Your radar operator looks up at you, his face glowing in the green light of his console, and reports dozens of low-velocity wooden blips crawling across the ocean at an agonizingly slow 5 knots. You look out the bridge window, take a sip of your perfectly temperature-controlled coffee, and realize the truth. You are trapped in the past, surrounded by the lawless predators of the 19th century, and you are about to open the hunt. Word travels fast across the shipping lanes, but it does not travel fast enough to save the first pirate crew that decides to test your ship. A few weeks into your displacement, a notorious pirate sloop operating off the coast of the Caribbean spots you on the horizon. Through your binoculars, you can see they do not realize they are looking at an apex predator. They just see a massive, bizarrely shaped gray merchant prize waiting to be plundered. You watch them cheer, raise the Jolly Roger, and light their matches. The pirate ship closes the distance, lines up its shot, and fires a full broadside directly into your port side. Dozens of solid iron cannonballs come screaming through the air. You brace for impact, but the iron spheres simply strike your gray steel hull and bounce off with a pathetic clanging sound. Falling harmlessly into the sea, they leave nothing but tiny, hilarious scuff marks on your specialized naval paint. 19th century smoothbore cannons utilize low-grade black powder to launch solid iron against your reinforced steel armor, which is literally designed to withstand supersonic anti-ship cruise missiles. A 24-pound cannonball is essentially a very aggressive pebble. On the bridge, your tactical officer asks if you should lock on and fire a Tomahawk cruise missile. You tell him absolutely not. A single Tomahawk costs millions of dollars and is meant to obliterate hardened underground bunkers from 1,000 miles away. Using it on a wooden pirate ship would be like using an anti-tank rocket to swat a housefly. Instead, you give a calm order to activate your automated Mark 45 5-inch lightweight gun on the bow. With a smooth, terrifying mechanical whir, the gun pivots instantly, guided entirely by your advanced radar tracking software. It fires a single explosive shell that travels faster than the speed of sound. You watch the shell strike the pirate ship's main mast dead center. The wooden vessel does not just take damage. It experiences an instantaneous, violent transition into high-velocity kindling. In less than 3 seconds, the fierce pirate crew is left clinging to floating splinters, staring up at your steel leviathan in absolute existential dread. Within weeks, rumors of your actions spread across the Atlantic like a wildfire. Sailors begin speaking in hushed, terrified whispers about the ghost of the Atlantic. You know the British Royal Navy assumes you are a secret American superweapon, while the American government assumes you are a British Black Ops project. The pirates, however, are convinced you are the literal wrath of God. Every time a rogue fleet tries to corner a merchant convoy, you chart a course to intercept them. You do not care about weather conditions, you do not care about nightfall, and you do not care about their defensive positioning. Using your advanced thermal imaging cameras, you track pirate ships through pitch-black darkness and blinding tropical storms. You slide up right next to them in the dark, illuminate them with your massive searchlights, and demand their immediate surrender over your long-range acoustic speakers. Hearing a voice like an angry deity echoing across the empty ocean is highly effective. Pirates begin jumping overboard and swimming for shore the moment they see your gray silhouette on the horizon. Clearing out small-time Atlantic raiders is an easy warm-up for your crew. But you know that if you truly want to rid the 19th century of piracy, you have to travel to the ultimate boss fight of the era. You order the ship to round the Cape of Good Hope, cross the Indian Ocean, and enter the treacherous waters of the South China Sea. This is the undisputed domain of Ching Shih, the most successful and terrifying pirate commander in human history. At the peak of her power, Ching Shih commanded the legendary Great Red Flag Fleet. This was not a loose collection of rogue captains. It was a highly disciplined floating empire consisting of over 300 massive combat junks, backed by more than 1,000 smaller vessels, and an army of nearly 40,000 pirate warriors. She ran her armada with an iron fist, and if anyone disobeyed her orders, she had them promptly decapitated. She had successfully defeated the Portuguese navy and forced the Chinese emperor to pay her tribute. When her scouts report that a single sailless gray ship is destroying her vanguard vessels with invisible long-range lightning, Ching Shih does not panic. She adapts. She realizes your ship relies on distance and speed, so she devises the ultimate swarm strategy to catch you. She deploys over 400 of her finest combat junks at once, forming a massive interlocking crescent moon shape inside a shallow bay, completely surrounding your only exit. Her plan is brutal but mathematically sound. Sacrifice her frontline ships, clog your path with burning wooden wrecks, and use sheer numbers to close the distance. If even a handful of her massive junks can get close enough to throw grappling hooks, her army of 40,000 bloodthirsty pirates can swarm your decks and overwhelm your 300 sailors through pure weight of numbers. As the pirate fleet closes in, your combat information center lights up. The radar screen is a solid, terrifying wall of blinking red dots. Your tactical action officer looks at you for orders, completely calm. You tell him to engage the Phalanx close-in weapon system, your rapid-fire multi-barrel Gatling gun. The system wakes up, its independent radar dome spinning as it tracks the leading pirate vessel and lets out a continuous mechanical scream that echoes across the entire bay, firing armor-piercing tungsten bullets at a ridiculous rate of 4,500 rounds per minute. The system tears through wood, sails, and masts in a matter of seconds. You watch through the bridge window as the leading junks are literally chewed into clouds of sawdust before they can even get within traditional cannon range. But Ching Shih's pirates are fiercely disciplined, and they keep pushing through the wall of smoke, throwing their ships forward into the meat grinder. Seeing their relentless advance, you decide to show them the true meaning of 21st century propulsion. You order your 4 massive General Electric gas turbine engines pushed into overdrive, unleashing a combined 100,000 horsepower. Your ship accelerates from a dead stop to 35 knots in moments, maneuvering through the crowded bay like a supercar driving circles around a herd of snails. The sheer physics of your 9,000-ton steel hull, moving at high speed, creates a catastrophic bow wave. The massive walls of water kicked up by your wake capsize the smaller pirate boats without you needing to fire a single extra round. By the time the sun sets, the Great Red Flag Fleet is utterly broken. Ching Shih, staring out over the remains of her invincible armada, realizes she is not fighting a nation, but an enemy from a different millennium. She orders a full retreat, and the greatest pirate empire the world has ever seen dissolves into history. But just as you and your crew achieve total global dominance over the oceans, a quiet and terrifying enemy begins to show itself right on your bridge display. It is not an enemy you can blow up with a missile or outrun with your gas turbines. It is the cold, unyielding reality of modern logistics. You stand over the digital console, staring at a fuel gauge that is steadily ticking down towards zero. Your glorious 100,000 horsepower engines do not burn wood, coal, or whale oil. They run exclusively on highly refined diesel fuel marine. In the year 1812, commercial petroleum refining does not exist, and the very concept of drilling for oil is decades away. You know that if your engineers try to pour crude coal oil or organic whale blubber into your high-precision gas turbines, the complex internal components will instantly clog, corrode, and suffer a catastrophic meltdown. Your multi-billion-dollar warship will turn into a massive floating paperweight. You started this journey with roughly 500,000 gallons of fuel, which gave you a generous range of about 4,400 miles at an economical cruising speed. But after months of high-speed combat maneuvers across the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans to hunt down pirate fleets, your tanks are practically empty. Then comes your ammunition crisis. Every time you use the 5-inch gun to obliterate a hostile vessel, that shell is gone forever. Every time your Phalanx system lets out a brief 2-second burst, it consumes 150 rounds of specialized ammunition. The advanced missiles sitting in your vertical launching cells are irreplaceable masterpieces of rocket science and solid-state microchips. You can actually send a shore party to a local colonial blacksmith out of curiosity, handing him a blueprint for a laser-guided targeting system to see if he can forge a spare part. The poor man just looks at the blueprint, scratches his head, and offers to make you a really nice horseshoe instead. Even though you begin to strictly ration every single bullet and eventually park the ship in a quiet bay to conserve your remaining fuel, the environment itself is constantly trying to destroy you. Your modern electronics require precise climate control to prevent salt air corrosion, your air filters are clogging, and your hull requires regular dry docking to scrape away thick layers of barnacles that are ruining your fuel efficiency. Without specialized software engineers to debug your combat systems, and without a modern naval shipyard supplying high-tech spare parts, you are operating on borrowed time. You are a digital god trapped in an analog world, and your clock is finally running out. The inevitable day finally arrives for your crew. The last remaining drops of refined fuel are sucked into your generators on the bridge. The glowing tactical screens flicker, dim, and go completely dark. The low, comforting mechanical hum that has echoed through your ship's corridors for months slowly grounds to a halt. The air conditioning units blow their final breath of cool air, and the heavy, humid tropical heat of the 19th century floods into your steel hull. You are officially out of gas. Your weapons are locked, your radar is blind, and your engines are dead. Yet this is not the end of the story for your time-traveling crew. In fact, your true impact on history is just beginning. You no longer possess an active warship, but you possess something infinitely more powerful, the accumulated knowledge of 200 years of human progress. You step off the ship and sit down at a wooden table on a nearby beach to enter negotiations with the leaders of the era, including President James Madison himself. Your ship becomes the ultimate treasure chest of the 19th century. Even when completely powerless, its hull represents an unprecedented goldmine of advanced metallurgy. Engineers and scientists from across the globe flock to your position, staring in awe at titanium alloys and reinforced steel structures that would normally take generations to invent. By commanding your crew to carefully dismantle non-essential parts of the ship, you provide the world with blueprints that jumpstart the Industrial Revolution by a century. Your offline databases and medical textbooks contain the secrets to manufacturing basic penicillin, introducing modern sanitation, and understanding the germ theory of disease, instantly saving millions of lives from the rampant plagues of the era. Your navigators share flawlessly accurate, satellite-mapped charts of the world's oceans that you have saved in your local drives, revealing hidden trade routes and transforming global commerce overnight. Your engineers assist local builders in constructing the world's first advanced steam engines and electrical grids decades ahead of schedule. As for the pirates, their fate remains permanently sealed. Your sudden, terrifying appearance has completely shattered the golden age of piracy. The surviving rogue captains, permanently traumatized by the memory of your ship that could see through darkness and erase an entire armada with a single mechanical scream, retire to become farmers and honest merchants. The shipping lanes become safer than they have ever been in human history. Eventually, the stripped, majestic hull of your destroyer is towed to a permanent berth in a major harbor. Preserved as a sacred monument, it stands today as a silent steel god from the future, a reminder of the day your crew fell through time and completely reshaped the destiny of the world. Because of the knowledge you left behind, the timeline is permanently accelerated. Humanity bypasses decades of slow trial and error, building advanced railways, global electrical communication networks, and steel-hulled merchant fleets before the 19th century even draws to a close. By the time Abraham Lincoln would have been an old man, humanity is already building its first rockets to reach the stars. All because you took a wrong turn in 1812 to hunt down some pirates. Just remember, if you ever find yourself copying this path, make sure to pack a few extra gas cans and subscribe us for more.